Mechanic tries to scam me, receives public embarrassment in return, by user drunken black sheep. I, 26F, do not look like I would know a single thing about cars. 5'3" with long blonde hair, soft girly appearance, and an eternal baby face that makes me look about 15 to 16 years old. I drive a rather beat-up looking 2004 Avalon. My dad and brother are both mechanics. Not my profession, but I've learned a thing or seven from them and am very comfortable working on cars. I'm only mentioning my appearance because it's pretty common for mechanics to assume that I'm an idiot about cars. A while back, I was pretty overwhelmed with life and didn't have a good space to do it, so I took my car in to get the oil changed. The place offered a free of charge head-to-toe inspection for any repairs that might need to be made. I knew my car was fine. I had pretty recently changed the air filter and brake pads. Rotors had maybe 40k miles on them and were in great condition. New serpentine belt too. Literally just didn't feel like changing my oil. Relevant notes: before I went to the shop I actually checked my air filter and it was, in fact, pristine. Also, I usually call my dad while I'm working on my car so we can chat so he knows what repairs/maintenance I've done and that my car is well taken care of. After they changed my oil, the guy came back with the inspection results on a clipboard and was holding my air filter. He had this grave look on his face like something was wrong. Mind you, this is a very busy place and there were lots of customers in the waiting room. He told me that we needed to go over the results because my car was about to be completely broken down and also not safe to drive if I didn't get several repairs done ASAP because these were all completely shot. The repairs: new brake pads, new rotors, new calipers, replace serpentine and drive belt, new air filter, new compressor or my AC will not work, a heavy threat in the middle of summer in FL, and a couple more generic things. He showed me my air filter that was filled with dead grass, a dead wasp, some dirt and hair. Brew. He really scooped some bullshit off the shop floor and put it in my new air filter to try and freak me out. The total? About $1,500 worth of work. It would be more expensive anywhere else but he was willing to give me a deal. So I immediately start buying myself time by asking some basic questions that I knew he would have to explain so I could nod at him all wide-eyed while I came up with a good way to respond to what he was doing. What does the serpentine belt do? Is it important? Etc. I texted my dad, I'm calling in a SEC, just play along. Told the guy, OMG, that's so scary, I can't believe I was driving around like that. Thank you so much for caring. I don't have the money so let me call my dad real quick to see if he can help me out. I can't afford this. I then proceeded to enhance my dramatic performance by even working up a tear while I called my dad. The guy is standing there with me in front of all the customers. I put my phone on speaker and gave my dad a whole sob story about how I need money again. I'm so sorry, can he help me? He asked what the repairs were and how much. I said it, but it sounds really bad. He says that it's dangerous. Dad, I can't be without a car. What am I going to do? Then I asked the guy to tell my dad what the repairs were. He rattles it all off and my dad is playing his part perfectly. Oh wow, oh my goodness, I'm glad you caught this so she's not in danger anymore. Little did this scammer know, he was the one in danger. He hands the phone back and I drop the facade and start laughing really hard. As soon as Dad hears me he started cackling into the phone. I said, Dad, do you hear this bullshit? Get this, he brought me my new air filter I just put in to show me how dirty it was. He pulled shit off the floor or something and rubbed it on there. Dad and I continue to crack up. The audience in the waiting room was also cracking up. Scammy Mech Annie was beet red and completely at a loss for words. Head down and some stuttering was his response. I handed him my air filter and told him to go vacuum it out and to make sure to let me see it before he put it back in. I sat and watched him put it back once it was clean and also watched him pull my car out to make sure he didn't do anything horrible while I wasn't looking. I might have taken it a little far, but I really hate when mechanics take advantage of people who don't know anything about cars, so this felt like a massive win. Big props to my dad for his performance, and for teaching me about cars. I stopped my neighbors' loud parties and they ended up moving, by user Bloom Sarah. Our neighbors had very loud parties frequently that would go until 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. even on weeknights. When I walked by his house to check my mail he would mutter insults to himself about me and my kids. I tried to talk to him through his adult son because my Spanish isn't that great and his English was no better. I didn't feel good about calling the cops on him because he is a minority and his English is poor. Nothing worked. Other neighbors did call the cops on him and his family and it didn't work anyway. Finally I had completely had it and ordered this stuff called Liquid A. A couple of squirts were supposed to be effective but I didn't know how well it would really work from the other side of our shared wooden fence. The next party was on a Tuesday night and it was around midnight. There was super loud music and tons of people dancing and drinking as usual. I went outside and poured the entire 4-ounce bottle on my side of the fence along the fence line, then quickly ran back inside. Within 20 minutes the music was off and the guests were chattering, trying to figure out what was wrong. The guests left to my delight and everyone in my house finally got some sleep. The following day there was a huge sewage repair company truck outside their house most of the day. A month later a for sale appeared for one day and it was sold to very quiet lady who said, "I hope my wind chimes aren't too loud for you. I do not miss them at all." Edit. Some have asked how the smell would bother my neighbor and not me. After I used it I went directly inside. I have air conditioning so none of the windows were open. They were a large group outside in their backyard adjacent to mine and directly affected. By the next day I didn't smell anything but rarely go in my backyard anyway. On the label it says it lasts 3 hours but it could have been longer because I used the entire bottle. I got the middle finger and I returned the favor, by user Troubled Neighbor. I am someone in my late 20s, brown fellow living in the South. I have been a regular at this small restaurant for few years and usually sit at the bar. Sunday morning I walk in and sit at the bar. Directly behind me is a booth with 4 ladies in their 20s having breakfast. I don't really pay much attention to them. The restaurant is pretty busy and all the waitress are running around. I make my small talk with the waitress, get my coffee and order my food. As I wait, at some point the ladies behind me had finished their food, left the booth, paid and walked out. The table was being cleaned by another waitress and she finds a pair of glasses and asks the waitress who had the table about them. I said the ladies just left and are probably still outside in the parking lot, and the waitress asked me if could flag them down and give the glasses back. So being friendly I got the glasses, walked outside and find the ladies pulling out their car from the parking spot. As I try to flag them to get their attention, the 2 ladies in the front seat make eye contact, start laughing and then hit the gas without stopping. The ones in back yell something and give me the middle finger. I said screw it, threw the glasses in the trash can and walked back in the restaurant. Few minutes later I am back inside, eating my food. I see one of the ladies walk back inside talking to the hostess. She points to the waitress that had the table and are inquiring about the glasses. I am not going to lie, it felt good when they pointed at me and see the look on her face. When the waitress asked what I had done with the glasses, I told them I put them in the trash outside. When they gave me the middle finger I didn't get an apology, the girl just walked out. Few minutes go by, they come back and asking which trash can I put glasses into it. I still hadn't gotten an apology, so I did what I thought was right and gave them the middle finger back and they left. TLDR, gave me the middle finger when I tried to return the glasses. Glasses were thrown in the trash and gave them the middle finger back when they came looking for the glasses. The time I annoyed my teacher and made her look like a lunatic, by user Trying Tourist. This is my first post, so I'm sorry if I make mistakes. English is not my first language. This all happened in the 90s when I was in middle school. I believe I was 11 years old. There was a teacher we'll call Miss Weirdo from another class who I've seen before but never interacted much with her. I just knew who she was and that's it. One day during a family get-together, we realized Miss Weirdo was a distant relative. Her sister is married to one of my grandma's brothers. I was introduced to her and the family was talking about how she had to take care of me when she sees me in school from now on. She just smiled and agreed. From then on, I would see her everywhere. In the halls, near my classroom, during recess, it was really weird. She would just look at me and scold me if I was doing something she considered bad. If I was playing with my friends she would tell me not to yell too much even though I was quiet, or if I was walking to the bathroom she would make me go back to class saying I skipped class way too often even though I never did. She would stop me and compare how I was wearing my uniform to that of my friends. It was so frustrating and I would tell my classroom teacher but she didn't believe me and I don't blame her. The situation was bizarre. Fast forward a couple of months, my teacher went on maternity leave and Miss Weirdo ended up being my substitute teacher. She would make me change seats constantly because I was loud, would ask me if I knew the answer to her questions every day and kept telling me my uniform was sloopy. We were kids, we were all sloopy. One day, I had a sleepover with my best friend and I accidentally forgot my school shoes at her house. My mom sent me with another pair and I knew this was going to cause a problem. I called my bestie and told her to bring my shoes with her to the school. When Miss Weirdo saw me with the incorrect shoes, she looked like it was Christmas for her. Now that I look back on it, I think she never escalated her behavior up until this point because her complaints didn't match with my appearance. I was a tiny girl who looked way younger than I actually was, super quiet, and I liked to hug everyone. If she told my parents or my other teachers that I was causing trouble, they would not believe her. So now she had physical proof that I broke a rule by using shoes that weren't part of the uniform. She yelled at me that I was in big trouble. She would make the principal come to the classroom and they would need to call my parents. As if at that age my mom wouldn't know how I dressed every day. I was super pissed. When she left the classroom, my friend and I acted at the same time. I took off my shoes, she opened her backpack, gave me the correct shoes and hid the other ones. All in a couple of seconds, and while all of our classmates were watching us. When she came back with the principal, she just pointed at me and kept saying I was the one disregarding the rules and all that. That they needed to call my mom because obviously, I was a rebellious child who did whatever she wanted. The principal just looked at her, at me looking all dramatically sad and scared, my perfectly acceptable shoes, and back at her. When the principal kept looking at her as if he was considering retiring her because of her old age, Miss Weirdo turned around and looked at my shoes, and oh boy, did she yell at me. She yelled that I stopped pretending being a nice student, that I was trying to make her look bad, and she just went and took my backpack and started looking for the other shoes inside. The student desks were like a double box where you could store stuff under your seat and under the table, and she also looked inside my desk. All the while, the principal asked a couple of my classmates what was going on, and they just said Miss Weirdo always acted like that towards me. They never said I changed my shoes. It was amazing. The principal very gently took her outside and told us he would send another teacher for the day and left. She stopped being our substitute teacher after that. That day I learned I have a super innocent looking face and I could get away with anything. I've used this gift for the past 20 years. In elementary school I got even with a bully, by useratum lauder. In elementary I was hanging out with another student, Allie, when Jessica came over and said she had to show Allie something. We both walked over to the playground and Jessica told Allie to stand in a specific spot, on a higher ledge, so she could see something. She kept pointing across the field telling us to look. Allie knew better as Jessica had been bullying her and had a reputation, so she said no. Then naive me comes along thinking everyone has the best intentions, so I follow Jessica's instructions to see what she keeps pointing at. Well, when I stood on the ledge I immediately realized I stepped in dog crap. I was pissed and Jessica was cracking up. I took a twig and was cleaning off my sneaker. I proceeded to take the poopy twig, found Jessica, and threw it perfectly at the back of her head. It stuck to her hair. Jessica never tried anything again.